Louisiana Senator Republican Bill Cassidy joins us now. Senator, thanks very much for talking with us this evening. I want to get to what the administration is pushing. Jill Biden is in Ukraine, as we just heard Greg Palcott report. They want $33 billion in additional assistance for Ukraine. Will Republicans go along with that?
Yeah, if they can justify it, absolutely. This has changed from a war in which we thought Russia was going to win into one in which we think the Ukrainians can win. And I'll point out, the Russians are killing civilians. The Ukrainians are killing Russian tanks. It's in war a lot better to destroy the other person's army than to attempt to break their will, because the Ukrainians are not going to give up. Let's give the Ukrainians what they need for victory.
$33 billion is a significant amount of money. Do you see this going on for some time? I mean, can the Ukrainians count on the support of the United States government, perhaps even beyond this $33 billion?
I think they can, because the understanding is that if Russia is not stopped in Ukraine, they're going to keep going. They're looking at Slovakia. They're looking at the Baltic states. At some point, they would, naming those countries, they would then trigger the NATO alliance, in which the United States is all in. If you will, it's better for us to support the Ukrainians than to trigger that, so that our young men and women who are in the Baltic states or Poland would then be drawn into combat. So I think we're helping the Ukrainians. I think it's the wiser way for us to go for many, many reasons.
The G7 has also made a decision today that they've got this statement supporting nations trying to phase out Russian energy imports. How realistic is that for the G7? I know it's a lot more difficult for countries that are connected via gas pipeline, those like Germany. But in the United States, how realistic is that, and how much can the United States help in that effort?
It's only realistic if the Biden administration becomes serious about developing U.S. energy resources. If they keep on saying on the one hand we're doing it, and on the other hand they discourage it, it's not going to happen. I've called for an Operation Warp Speed to just cut away, just like we did for vaccine development, cut away the underbrush of regulations for energy development. It could help lower the price at the pump here in the U.S. It could also help our European allies. It would create a lot of American jobs, better paying jobs. So we need the Biden administration to get serious. If they do, Operation Warp Speed for energy would be a way to show it.
One of the points from the administration, they've said that oil companies have been sitting on thousands of oil and gas leases. Is that factoring in here? And should there be more movement from the private sector as well as the government to try to develop more?
You don't just need a lease, you need a permit. And you also need capital investment. It was interesting, and the administration has been discouraging private banks, et cetera, from investing in oil and gas. And recently, the administration pushed its Ex-Im Bank to begin to invest in domestic energy, but nothing for fossil fuel. It was all for renewables. So the administration talks out of both sides of its mouth. Hey, pick up your game, but we're going to actually discourage the implementation of everything you need to pick up your game. We need an Operation Warp Speed. We need this administration to be serious about energy production.
Senator, moving on to the story that has really dominated Washington and the country over the past week, this leaked draft opinion overturning Roe versus Wade. Senator McConnell, the Senate Minority Leader, said if Republicans take control, it could be possible that they would pursue a nationwide ban on abortions. Do you think that's likely, and would you support that?
I think what McConnell was referring to is that if the left does away with the filibuster, that's something that Republicans could pursue. Now, as long as it takes 60 votes to get something done, just reasonably speaking, that won't happen on a federal level. But I can tell you, trusting democracy on the state level is probably the way to go. I think that's what jurists from the left and the right have said.
Republicans and Democrats as well are calling for more protection for Supreme Court justices. Do you think that that's something that is just in the proposal stage now, or will we begin to see some movement on the Senate side where there could be an appropriation for more money to protect Supreme Court justices?
I can absolutely see that. You'd want to judge the need. First, I'll say I'm unapologetically pro-life. I'm also unapologetically against mob rule. And the left has been attempting to intimidate the court with mob rule. Whether it's Chuck Schumer on the steps of the Supreme Court saying you're going to reap the whirlwind of what, Chuck? people posting, doxing or posting the addresses of Supreme Court justices, and now they're having protests out. So the left has been attempting to intimidate the court by threatening to pack it, by threatening violence. Now we're seeing the violence. So if it turns out that they have a shortage of what they need, I think we must. The left is attempting to intimidate the court now by violence.
Louisiana Senator Bill Cassidy. Senator, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.